Good evening. This is Wednesday, June 25th, 132 days until the 2008 presidential election. The cover photo with the lapel pin is getting all the attention. The interview has all the news. Our fifth story in the countdown, asked by Rolling Stone publisher Jan Wenner about how Democrats have cowered in the wake of past Republican attacks. Senator Obama responding, quote, "Yeah, I don't do cowering." That evident today in at least 3 issues, not even counting the Rolling Stone issue. Here's the cover, the obligatory pin thing. Inside, and understanding how a Democratic candidate should achieve campaign finance reform, conventional wisdom be damned. No cowering on that subject in the name of not being swift-voted. See Kerry, John, 2004. There will also be no being for campaign finance reform before Senator Obama was against it. At his news conference this afternoon, the Illinois Democrat describing his vision of a new kind of grassroots finance campaign.
There's no single donor in our campaign or group of donors on which we depend because our donor base is the American people. And that is exactly what has always been the end of campaign reform. Now, public financing was one means of achieving that end, of freeing ourselves from special interest domination. And I feel confident that we've achieved it.
Senator Obama also refusing to cower, even to the left, on the subject of warrantless wiretapping. His plan to vote for the FISA compromise legislation, putting him at odds with members of his own party, including now the Democratic leader in the Senate. Majority Leader Reid among those saying they will vote against it, even if he brings it to a floor vote. And that is still an if. The Nevada Democrat today holding the legislation hostage, warning Republicans that if they keep blocking the housing bill, little else will pass in the chamber in the days before the 4th of July recess. The FISA bill's retroactive immunity provision for telecom giants, prompting Senators Dodd and Feingold to do more than just promise to vote against it. The two now planning to filibuster the legislation to keep it from ever coming to a vote. Senators Boxer and Biden having indicated today they would support a filibuster. I was right the first time. It's Wyden. This afternoon, Senator Obama holding the White House accountable above keeping the telecom industry in check.
The issue of the phone companies per se is not one that overrides the security interests of the American people. I do want accountability and making sure that, as I've said before, somebody's watching the watchers. That you don't have an administration that feels that it can make its own determinations about when warrantless wiretaps are applicable without going through a FISA court. Can we get to the bottom of what's been taking place? And most importantly, do we have safeguards in place going into the future so that American civil liberties are not being violated?
And the third issue, Obama's lengthy call-out of Charlie Black and the McCain campaign claim that a terrorist attack would be good for their election chances. We'll review that with Florida Congressman Robert Wexler presently. First time to bring in our own Jonathan Alter, also, of course, senior editor at Newsweek magazine. Good evening, John.
Hi, Keith.
Yeah, I don't do cowering. This is not just the man, but the campaign?
Yes, this is part of the message that is consistent across the last couple of weeks, and it comes down to one word: strength. The United States is not going to elect a president it perceives to be as weak. You look weak if you're flip-flopping. You look weak if you're not taking actions that seem to be securing the United States against terrorists. And you look weak if you don't fight back against your political adversaries.
But this this terminology cuts in more than one direction here. Not cowering to Republicans is one thing in the recent Democratic history. It's a thing that I think anybody who has a D near their name cheers. Right. But not cowering to the left, not going along with the new conventional thinking on the FISA bill. That's something altogether different, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really think it is. It was only a matter of time before the left was disappointed in Barack Obama, at least in a limited way. No politician is ever going to do everything that somebody likes. And I think some folks in the netroots in particular on this FISA bill who are, pulling their hair out over this, they have to realize he's always been a politician, he'll always be a politician, and politics is the art of the possible. And he's a legislator. He knows that you can't always get everything that you want in a bill, even if he personally believes that the immunity for telcos is a bad idea. The larger idea of the bill was important. And I actually think one of the big points, Keith, that hasn't been made about this bill is that currently, as of last August, since last August, we've been operating in an unconstitutional environment, in clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. So there was tremendous urgency to get the FISA court back into the game. And does this bill do it imperfectly? Yes. But it does do it, and it restores the Constitution, which is a point that's not getting made very much.
All right, a devil's advocate question on this one phrase and wherever it applies. When does "I don't do cowering" begin to sound like something that was said by President George My Way or the Highway Bush?
Well, I guess
is there a risk of that?
That's in the eye of the beholder. Yes, there's clearly a risk of that, and I think sometimes you can. In doing that, you can seem too political, as Obama did on the Muslims this week. You know, where he seemed like he was essentially cowering in front of the possibility of a bad photograph of him going to a mosque or with American Muslims. And in that sense, I think that was the real weakness for him this week. Is that you can, and sometimes in trying to look strong, you can actually look weak, like you're playing too much defense.
Well, to that point, what's that flag pin? I mean, you know, we're seeing a lot more of it now, notably with him laughing almost at it or smiling at it on the Rolling Stone cover. Would the true non-cowerer among us keep his lapel flag free? No, and there are certain kinds of things that when you go out into a general election, which has as many as 130 million Americans voting, a large percentage of whom have not been paying any attention. They are low information voters, many of them. You have to make some concessions like a flag pin. No, I guess that falls into the what's the difference category.
Exactly.
Jonathan Alter of MSNBC and Newsweek, as always, sir. Great. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Keith.